Hello and welcome to a stream. Now let me quickly get that off the screen because that's a bit of a sneak peek of something I don't want you to see just yet. So let's just check the audio first and make sure everything's looking okay and sounding okay. And welcome. So hello Peter Pham. Peter Pham's in the chat. Leslie, g'day Leslie, how are you? John Carter, welcome back. Hello and good evening. So today we're going to go through my raw files. We're going to look at the raw files that I've taken in my little challenge of the attempting to get an award-winning image. Can see and hear you good. Okay, can you see and hear me because you're in the next room, or can you see and hear me through this? So, no, good. Sounds like we're up and running. I haven't done this for a while. I haven't done a stream from home. So, yes, welcome. And what we'll do is, we're going to go through all of my raw files. And what I'm going to do is, so for anyone new to the stream, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter a photo competition next year. And I put a few rules on myself. Rule number one is that the photo has to be captured during a live stream. And rule number two, it has to be captured in Hervey Bay, because I want to show off Hervey Bay and see if we can get an award-winning image here in Hervey Bay. Which, look, I think we can, but we're going to have to be pretty lucky, because we'll cover that later. So yes, thank you to everyone who's in here. So we're going to go through my raw files. I did plan to have a look at the Pano Awards website and go through some of the images from previous years, but they haven't announced this year's winners yet. So what we might do is we'll wait until they announce this year's winners, and then we'll go through and we'll have a look and sort of give us an idea of what we're up against, because it's not going to be easy. And I can tell you right now that from the 5 sessions that I've done, from the 5 live streams that we've done, we don't have an award-winning image yet. We're close, but I don't think we're quite there. Lots of little things, and that's what I'm going to do. We're going to go through the raw files, and I'll explain why I don't think they're award-winning images and what we can do to improve upon them. I need to contact the weather gods, because that is the biggest key to these images. We need weather. We need the weather. The weather needs to be on our side. So yes, hello and welcome. So I don't know if I'll do much editing tonight. It really is a review of what we've done so far, and what I'm even thinking of doing, because I want you guys to help me choose the images that we're going to submit. What I'm going to do is try and narrow down some of my favorites, and I might even see if I can run a poll at some stage and see if we can do a poll, because I'm going to submit, look, I will see, I might submit a few images, and what we might do is I might say choose 3 images, and I'll get you guys to choose 3 images. But look, we've still got a year to do this, so let's just get through our raw files first and see what we've got. G'day Pete, how are you? Yes, hello all. Hope your shots came out great with the light help. Oh, wait till you see them. I am pretty happy with them. They have come out quite well. I'm very happy with the ones that, Pete and I did the light painting Astro. I'm really happy with them, but they're not perfect. And that's just because we had a bit of cloud come across the Milky Way, which I'll get to soon. So yeah, stay tuned. We've got some nice images in here. We've got some nice images. There's really only one day that was a fail. But that was the day I got the Pelicans, so the day wasn't a fail by any means. But as far as we're doing landscape images, so yeah, we'll go through that. So hello and welcome. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to ask. Don't ask me about this image. I was just having a quick look. For those that don't know, it was Kath's birthday yesterday. It was my wife's birthday yesterday, and I got her a whale trip. So I booked her a whale trip so I could take photos, and I finally got a breach. I finally did it. I finally got a breach. So yeah, pretty happy. Breach close to the boat. It was nice. Slightly out of focus, but you know, that's my excuse with my old camera gear. But yeah, look, pretty happy with that one. I did get a few breaches. But yeah, the autofocus, I was using my 7D, and I had the 70-200 with the extender on it, and the extender can be a little bit hit and miss. But this one, yeah, that shot's fine. I ended up, how many did I end up with? 230, roughly 230 photos. And I got the shot. I got the shot I wanted. Look, there's lots of other shots in there, but yeah, awesome. If you've never been out to see the whales in Hervey Bay, get out there. They definitely worth the trip. Okay, so yeah, it was a good day. It was a good day to be out doing whales. Anyway, off the whale, I just wanted to show off my breach. So if Aquadan's looking, look out, mate. I'm coming after you. I've got a breach. Anyway, yeah, look, I can't keep up with him. He's got some good whales. Now, back on topic. Okay, yes, happy birthday, Kath. So, yeah, give Kath a thumbs up. All right, now, our award-winning images. Now, what I'm going to do, I've already stitched a couple of the panos together. I haven't stitched all of the panos together, mainly because I'll show you. Let's go through them. This was the first day. This was our very first attempt at the Pano Awards. And this is the day I think Matt came out with me on this day. And I'll tell you what, we've got some good ones in here. We do have some good ones in here. Which boat did, oh, hang on, I've missed stuff. Happy birthday. Oh, I was watching them today. Oh, you were out watching them today as well. Leslie was out today. Which boat were you? Yeah, which boat were you on, Leslie? We were on the Quick Cat 2. So, shout out to the Quick Cat. They were fantastic. They were really, really good. Highly recommend Quick Cat if you get a chance. The Boat Harbour, the Boat Club. Yeah, we've done the Boat Club boat before. Look, they're all good. They're all good. They're all very good. We've done the Boat Club boat. We've done the Quick Cat a couple of times. And it was a fantastic day. How good was it, Leslie? It was perfect out there. No wind, nice and calm, sunny. Yeah. Anyway, let's go. Look, I will go off topic and just talk for hours. So this was our first attempt, and look, I did have this plan to get the starburst through the tree, but it didn't work. Okay, the sun was a bit too diffused, so we didn't get the starburst that I wanted. And the sky's not doing enough. Okay, I'm going to be very, like, these images, they're all kind of nice, but yeah, we're going for an award-winning image. They can't be nice. They've got to be epic. And you know, anyone who hasn't had a look at the Pano Awards website yet, I highly recommend go and have a look at the Pano Awards website. And you know, the two things that I've noticed. Number one is epic landscapes, mountain ranges, snow-capped peaks. Like that's our first struggle. We're pretty flat out here in Hervey Bay. But I think a big deciding factor is going to be weather. The images that I've seen have been lightning, rainbows, epic skies. So, you know, this sky on this day wasn't quite epic enough. I think this location has the potential. But yeah, we'll go through them. So this was kind of, to give you an idea, I'm not going to stitch all these together because they're just going to look the same as this, just a stitched version of it. And what we're going to do with the Pano Awards, they're going to be cropped. They have to be a minimum of 2:1. Okay, so it has to be a minimum of a 2:1 ratio. We can go wider. So I've just put in a few preset ones. We can go wider if we want to. I will probably go with the 2:1. A lot of it will depend on this. G'day, Birdman. How are you? I didn't see Birdman's been in here for a while. G'day. If I miss anyone, just leave another comment. I do tend to miss things. So, g'day, Birdman. How are you? Seen a lot of whales. You've seen them all. Yeah. Well, I agree and disagree because today was the first time we had them breaching really close to the boat. We had a mother with 3 calves and they were just chilling out. So Mum was teaching the calves to get used to boats. So that was cool. We had, Mum actually brought her calves over to the boat just to teach her calves that boats are good these days. Anyway, we've got lots of video as well. I will probably upload a video to my second channel, which is the Life on the Bay. But yeah, breaches close. Finally, we got some breaches nice and close to the boat. So yes. Well, you may have seen one whale, seen them all, but look, I love them. They were doing stuff today that we hadn't seen before, which was good. So yeah, panos, you know, this one here, I will probably stick to that 2-to-1 ratio for most of them. I think an image like this, look, the sky's not doing enough. But it's simple as that. The sky's just not, and this is the raw files. I haven't done anything to these yet. These are straight out of the camera raw files. So we'll do a quick edit on the images that I think have potential. So if we find an image that I really do think has potential, we'll put them all aside and we'll edit them in another stream. So what I plan to do is I'm going to show you all the raw files, and then we will pick our favorites and then do an edit on their favorite ones. When it comes to editing, look, if I do an edit today, I will revisit another 10 times before I'll be happy with my edit. I always do that when I edit images. The one that I popped onto Facebook tonight, I literally spent 5 minutes editing it, and I'll guarantee you next time I look at it, I won't like it. So yeah, when it comes to editing, I always do my initial edit, and then I will revisit. I will keep revisiting the same photo until I get it right, because just, you know, little things like white balance can throw it out quite a lot. So yeah, look, this image, it's nice. It's nice, but it's not award winning. It's as simple as that. It's a nice photo. It's not award winning. All the next are very similar. Like I said, I haven't stitched them together yet. So by shooting them in portrait mode, when I stitch them together, we just get bigger files, more detail. So, you know, by the time I stitch, these are all 20 megapixel. So, you know, times that by 5, we've essentially got 100 mega. Well, it doesn't quite work out that way, but you get the idea. Okay. And then, yeah, we didn't get the starburst, which is what I wanted. The sun was just a bit too diffused. But just to give you an idea, so that image there is kind of what these ones will stitch in like. The next one will stitch a bit more like this one. So this is where we really lost color. Okay, so sunset, the cloud just wasn't doing enough. And as you'll see, once we go through these Pano Award images, the sky has to do stuff. Okay, the sky really has to do stuff to make them pretty special. Now, these I like. These, now that we're into blue hour, and look at the difference between, let's just have a quick look at the time. So this one was taken at 5:38. This one was at 5:59. So that'll give you an idea of how long we went in between shots. Because, yeah, if you remember the live stream, we just lost color once that sun dipped. And that's what happens after sunset. Like, a lot of people hang around, lose that color after sunset. And what's that? So, you know, essentially 5:40 till 6 o'clock. So 20 minutes before we've started to get our second wave of color. So, and this is where things are starting to look nice. Yeah, I'll try and keep a chat on. Keep a chat on the eye. I've seen whales can get epic clouds here. We can get epic cloud. Tonight was looking epic, but by the time we got back from the whales, tonight was looking good. It's, yeah, storm season is coming. Fingers crossed. I think storm season is going to be our best chance, especially at these locations. See, these locations, the difference between these and the big mountain range, and you know, when you look at the Pano Awards, they're epic locations. Big mountain ranges, lakes, like epic. So we've got to really rely on cloud to help us there. We're gonna need all the help we can get. Trust me. Pete, I'm the same. Let the photo sit in the camera for a while, then upload, check it out, then do an edit, come back, check again, countless times, post and have that regret for being too quick. Exactly. I do it all the time. Nearly every photo you see me post will be something that I've just gone, yep, I like this, quick edit, upload it. 2 days later, I'll look at it and go, that's garbage. That's photography. That's what happens. Okay. Occasionally you get some straight out of camera that look pretty good. Like this one I do like. But yeah, look, always sit on your... White balance is a big one with me. Once you sit here and look at an image for so long, your eyes will get used to it. Your eyes will get used to what you're looking at and you'll think it looks fine. And then when you come back to it the next day with fresh eyes, it will look different. It's just going to look different. Now, this image was okay. This is where the sky started to do stuff. Now, I love the foreground. I love all these reflections. So this is the sort of thing I'm looking for my award-winning images, is a lot going on. And I'll get to another photo soon, which I do really like as well, but there's not enough going on. So this one here, like, you know, taking a little, like, you can zoom in anywhere on this frame and it's got something going on that looks interesting. Okay, it doesn't matter whether we're looking at the clouds, whether we're looking at the trees. There's something going on everywhere in this frame that's interesting. So yes, it's just sand and reflections, but it's, you know, there's plenty to look at. Now I would crop that tree out of it. That tree would definitely go. I did have another shot in the panos. I did include that tree as well. Now, funny thing is, my favorite shot from this night is actually this one. I like that I've got the 4 trees here, but I have included this tree over here as well. So you know what, let me just quickly do a very basic edit on it, just so we can see it a bit better. So that I don't mind, and that crops in really well. So, you know, the fact that I'm in it, I wish I wasn't in it, but I can't clone myself out now. That with the moon up there, I don't mind at all. But if I wasn't there, this tree off to the side would be too far out of the frame that it would annoy me. Now, I do have another image here. Which one is it? This one. So this one hasn't got the tree. Again, I'm just gonna put my quick. I always just use my preset to give me a better idea of what I'm looking at, because that's going to be a bit more how we edit it, and that is just, everyone will know my settings. Highlights down, whites down, shadows up, blacks up, and then that's my starting point. So this one here, I like. This is probably the pick of the bunch by a long shot. Okay, this is easily my favorite so far. Is it award winning? I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. It's as simple as that. It's a nice photo. But yeah, I'll let you guys choose for me. So if I don't win anything, I can blame everyone else. G'day, Kerry. How are you? Kerry got a good photo of a bee eater today. She sent that through before. So well done. Kerry's doing well with her photography. Everyone is. Leslie's doing well. Kerry's doing well. Everyone I've given lessons to are doing really well. So if that doesn't tell you something. Nah, they're loving it. They're getting out there. They're having a crack. Bee eaters are hard, so Kerry's doing well to get bee eaters in flight. Yeah, they're tricky. They're tricky. So this one, yeah, this one, out of the first day, this one is my favourite. Trust me, I'm going to be revisiting these trees lots. If anything, if like, my major complaint with this is too much space left and right. Okay, now I don't want to have to crop it inwards, but if I had framed it up a bit better, now that I look at it, I think having those trees fill more of the frame would probably be a better idea. Okay, so look, I have plenty of shots where I am filling the frame with the trees, but then, like in these early ones, I'm missing out on too much sky. Okay, and again, I have some in here that the panos will stitch up okay. But yeah, this shot here, I think I need to include more trees. Okay, I think this one is just, it's a bit too much left and too much right. And I did that just because I wanted to take in all that sky. I really wanted to take in all that sky. I wanted to take in all these reflections. And that's what I was thinking at the time. At the time, I wanted to get as much of that sky as I could. I wanted to get as much of these reflections as I could. And, you know, like on its own, it's nice. But now that I look at it, I wish I was in a bit tighter. Okay, but then I'd sacrifice sky. It's hard. It's hard to get the perfect image. Okay, so in a perfect world, I'm not going to crop it, like that's just, but you know, if I had framed it up a bit more like that, then all of a sudden we lose all that sky, if that makes sense. So yeah, the trees are more of a feature, but then we lose all our foreground, we lose all that sky. So that's kind of why I went with the wider angle, just to get more in. because I love everything that happens in this scene. I love these reflections. I love the sky. The moon in there is a nice touch. I do like the fact that the moon's there. So yes, that's my number one image so far. Okay, that's my number one image so far. So that was day one for our very first attempt. I think we're doing all right. I think we're off to a reasonable start. Now this location, I am 100%. I'm going to be revisiting this location quite a lot because it's one of those locations where, yeah, I think it has potential if we get a good sky. Okay, now that sky is nice, but again, it's a common sky. I'd hate to say it, but it is a common sky. I think to be an award-winning image, it has to be something special. It has to, a bolt of lightning, a rainbow, some God rays, just something, you know. Yes, it's a nice sky and it's colourful, but dare I say it's a little bit generic. But it's nice. I'm not complaining. I love that photo, but yeah, I'm going to be fussy. This one here, yeah, I do like that. Again, if I wasn't in the picture, it wouldn't work. There'd be all this empty space in between the trees. So, and look, I do have a shot where I'm not in it, don't I? Yeah, I did a pano, which I'm not going to stick together at the moment. I do have lots of panos, and I will stitch them together eventually. This one won't stitch together well because I've missed the moon. Okay, like the moon is... I wish I had paid more attention to the moon. And look, I do have it. I do have it. I think it's even in these ones. Well, maybe not. But yeah, look, we'll go back out there when we've got a full moon. That might be the key. Get out there with a full moon in the sky and then get an epic sky. Like, you know, imagine if we had the full moon right in there. I'm not going to Photoshop one in, but imagine if we had a full moon right there. Anyway, let's move on. That's so far my favourite. ISO 1600. Now, the reason I did ISO 1600, it was quite windy. I needed a fast shutter speed to freeze the leaves. If we have a look at some of these other ones, where are we? So this one was at 2 seconds. If I zoom in on those leaves at 2 seconds, that one's not too bad. But yeah, it was quite windy. I want those leaves to be crisp and sharp. Okay, so there's a few of them like there. I don't know how well you'll see it on YouTube, but the leaf, they look blurry. They look like they're out of focus because they're blowing in the wind. So I literally had to crank up my ISO. But I don't care. It's, you know, the 6D does high ISO fine. So, you know, I'll add some noise reduction when it comes time to edit it. But there is our number one. Now, on to the next... The next attempt is this is a complete fail. I'm not even going to try and sugarcoat it. This is a fail. I had one image that I was happy with. And again, I was just exposing for my highlight, so that's why it looks very dark. Again, if I just sort of, what was I using? My 17 to 40. If I just brighten it up a little bit. Remember, this is a Pano award, so if we just sort of, you know, that's probably my best shot for the day, that one. And, you know, when I was talking about, like, you know, if I zoom over here, there's just nothing going on over this side of the frame. So that's something that, it was one of those mornings where I'd almost given up. Once I saw that the sky wasn't doing anything, the sky was very boring, to tell the truth. You're not going to get, well, I don't think that I'm going to get an award-winning image without the sky at least doing something. So yeah, I'd almost given up at this stage. There's a few images in here that my ideal shot was going to be the under the pier shot. It didn't happen. Yeah, like I said, you know, once I saw what the sky was doing, I had almost given up on that morning, and that's what you're going to see in live streams. You're going to see in live streams that you can't sort of predict the weather as good as I normally predict the weather, and I put my order in. That one just didn't do it for me. So yeah, that was a bit of a fail of a morning. Even these are just, yeah. See what I mean? The sky's just doing nothing. That's, you know, we need to have an epic sky. So that was that day. That was a complete fail. I'm not even going to like review them. So this was the day me and Pete went out. We've got some good shots here, to tell the truth. There was lots of birds flying through. Now, I mentioned this in the live stream. Look, you know what I'm going to do, just so we can see these better. I think everyone will get the idea that these are raw files. What were they? These were the 24 to 105. Let me just sync them up. So I always apply my preset just to give me a better look at what I'm dealing with, because yes, raw files are very flat. So let's not just look at raw, these are still raw files, but let's just apply some, bring down our highlights and lift our shadows essentially. So yeah, foreground, no, doesn't do it for me. Everyone does under the pier shots, absolutely everyone does under the pier shots. But we're talking about international awards. International awards, not everyone's seen our under the pier shots. Okay, now, you know, my favourite photographer just straight out is Mark Gray. Mark Gray has an under the pier shot, and I would dare say it's one of his best selling photos. He has an under the pier shot, and it's incredible. So never underestimate an under the pier shot. Yes, everyone does them, but if you do them right, they can be pretty good. And just to give you a quick, do I have it in here? I'm going to show it off because I can. I've got the camera in front of that. Now this is, I'm going to get this on stream, but you know, when you get an under the pier shot, you just got to do it right. Okay, I've got this hanging up there on my wall in a big acrylic print, and it looks amazing. Like it's one of those, it's just, if an under the pier shot's done well, it can be good. Okay, and we will attempt this one. I do have the under the pier shot as a plan. So, and look, another thing that you'll probably notice once you look at the Pano Awards, a lot of the shots are the same. Like a lot of people will sort of say, oh yeah, that's another photo of Iceland. That's another photo of the waterfall. I can't say it off the top of my head. A lot of the shots are shots that you've seen 1,000 times before, but they're unique. There's either an epic sky going on, there's incredible lighting, fog, lightning, rainbows, misty air. Yes, they can be a generic shot that everyone's got, but you need those conditions that no one else can get. So yes, I agree that under pier shots, everyone does an under the pier shot, but with the right conditions, they can look very, very good. So yes, they can look good. A lone tree is another generic shot, and you'll see that once we go through the photos. There are a lot of lone tree shots. A lone tree is a very, what I would call a generic shot. You're going to see lots of them, but again, are you going to see this tree? And that's what I'm hoping I'm going to have on my side, is that, you know, I'm going to be submitting photos they've never seen, and I'm hoping that's going to be the difference between my shots and the really good ones. Hopefully the really good ones aren't quite as good, or I've got a little unique spin on something that they haven't seen before. So yeah, this day, look, this was nice. Like I said, we had lots of flocks of birds flying through. These sticks here, they really, actually, you know what I'm going to do? Let me put my cursor highlight thing on just to annoy everyone. Okay, these sticks here above, they annoy me, okay? But like I'm not cloning anything out, okay? I've done it in the past, but these days, look, if it's in the shot, it's in the shot. Yes, they annoy me. I'm not cloning them out. But yeah, look, we've got some nice shots here. I do have quite a few. So once you get up higher, those sticks, they blend in a bit more with the ground, okay? So you don't even see them here. Okay, where we're down low, and they're up, there they are there in that corner. Okay, because they're above the horizon, they're very noticeable. In this shot, like there they are there. They're off to the corner. There, I can see them, but they're mixed in amongst, say, they don't stand out. So a lot of it is just perspective, being the right angle. So if you do have something distracting in your foreground, or you do have something distracting in your shot, move, rather than clone it out. So again, the birds flying in the background, the sunbeams, like there's a lot about this that I like, but there's a lot that I don't. If we were to crop it. So again, you're going to hear me say this a lot. It's a nice shot, but it's not award-winning. It's not award-winning. And I don't think, editing is definitely going to help, when we go through, have a look at the Pano Awards, and if you reckon there's some shots in there that haven't been edited, think again, because they have been edited very nicely. And that's something that I'm still learning. I'm not a master of Photoshop by any means. I know how to use it, but yeah, some of the edits that they do, we'll spend some time on them. See, again, I've got those birds there. I've got some nice shots. What annoys me with these shots is this foreground. It really, that's what I think that's a bit of a killer of these shots. An uninteresting foreground. Okay, I tried to add some reflections in. Tried to get some reflections, and yeah, again, like they're okay, but they're not award-winning. Okay, another thing that annoys me with this, and we'll see it more once we get up to the next ones, nothing happening in the top left. Okay, I think those birds there, dude, look, there's 2 flocks of birds flying through there. There's another flock of birds under the tree. Yeah, this one here, nothing happening in this top left corner. That's a big no-no for me, okay? If we have a look up here, it's nothing, okay? I'm not a minimalist person by any means, but, if the sky was completely clear, maybe a different story. If it was foggy, different story, okay? I don't mind minimalism. If it's foggy, if it's a lone yacht with a perfect reflection, even this shot, if I got this shot with the water underneath, as an example, let me just quickly, give you an idea in Photoshop of my ideal shot with a different sky. If I get out there at the right tide on a day that is completely glassy, I can get this shot. Look at that. Okay, now I will be able to get that shot, and I think, when it comes to minimalist type images, I think something like that with a clear blue sky would be fine. It'd be even better with some lightning though. So yeah, that's where a minimalist photo will work, when you got a nice reflection or something like that going on. And yeah, that is a plan, to try and get this shot with the reflection. Just got to get there at the right tide, and hope there's no wind around. So now, once we move on, we've actually got a few here that aren't too bad. And again, the wind picked up. If we look at these trees now, that was the one good one. This one here, all of these shots, as the sun was sort of starting to... How good was this night, Pete? This was a good one. That shot would be majestic. It would, the reflection one. Yeah, so this was the night that Pete and I went out, and look at the tree. Okay, so we've got all that movement. This one was that was only half a second. That was at 0.6 of a second, and look how much movement. So that was very windy. I think I was too in the moment at the time, and I probably should have bumped up my ISO just to try and freeze it a bit. But the wind was gusty. I've got this shot here where the leaves are fine. Okay, everything's nice and still in that shot. I think this shot has potential. Let me give it a quick edit. Okay, again, it's just that foreground, but what I like about this one, this is, I mentioned this in the live stream. I don't want all this off to this side. To me, that's all distracting. I had to move just to get that sky, okay? I wanted to shoot out to the left more, but the sky wasn't doing anything out to the left. So I had to move myself to shoot towards the colour, and by shooting towards the colour, I then start to introduce some of this into my background. Okay, so again, if in the perfect world, we would be shooting this way with the clear horizon with that epic cloud. Okay, so then all of the mainland's off to the right and off to the left. So that's the angle I want to be shooting at. On this night, the colour went off that way. We had to move around to get it that way. There's a channel marker out here that's a bit annoying. Nothing I can do about it. I could probably crop it out. All of this over here is annoying as well. Yeah, I don't know. These leaves I don't mind. There's some orange leaves, there's some green leaves. All of that I don't mind. Let's do a really quick edit. Rather than just sit here and talk, I'll give you an idea of roughly what I would do to this. First thing I'm going to do is fix my sky. Let's try, I'm just going to do a linear gradient. I don't like the sky select in Lightroom. So we'll just do a quick linear gradient, bring down our sky a little bit, boost the contrast a little bit, play with my sliders just to see what, you know, how do I remember it? I do remember it being the pinks and blues. Okay, I don't want it warm. I do remember pinks and blues. So I'm going to just cool it down a little bit. Take the magenta up will give me a bit more of the pinks. So that's how I remember the sky. It was a good sky. So that's very quickly there. And yeah, the trees, I would definitely say, this is where I'd go into Photoshop, do a proper exposure blend. I'm not a big fan of the way Lightroom does things. Let's just try and select the subject and see what it does. If it just selects that tree, we might be okay. I apologize if the stream drops out. I just realized I'm using AI. AI destroys my stream. I just lift the shadows. See, this is in Photoshop. Photoshop's just much easier. Photoshop, I can do an exposure blend and bring out just the tree, but that's kind of, you know, a very quick edit. It's a horrible edit, but that will sort of give you an idea of what I'd be looking for. Okay, if we have a look at the raw file, there's the raw file and there's our edit. Okay, so that's more how I remember it. Pete was there with me. Pete will vouch that sky was epic, and we need to bring out that epicness of the sky. Okay, that was an amazing sky. You weren't there, I was. Me and Pete were there, and didn't it look like that, Pete? It didn't look like that. So that's how I would edit it, a bit more like that. And again, I will do it in Photoshop. Once I pick all of my favorite images, we will do a full edit. Okay, it may take a few days to edit them all, but I'll go through and I'll show you how I do my edits in Photoshop. I'd simply use Lightroom for a quick edit. I think Lightroom's just a quick, easy fix. These masking tools, I just don't like them. To be honest, I don't like the masking tools in Lightroom. They're fine for a quick edit to upload to social media. Once you get in tight, you'll notice how bad that masking can be. It looks fine on YouTube, it's going to look great on Facebook and Instagram, it'll look fine, but yeah, I'm fussy. I want it to be better. So yeah, look, that's probably the pick of the photos from that day as well. I do like it. I do, but I can do better. Okay, we've got to remember we've got nearly a year. I want this tree with lightning over it. It's as simple as that. The other trees, the 4 trees, so these trees here, I'm still not 100% sure what I want. I am reasonably happy with that shot and that shot. I think, yeah, we'll keep trying and see what we can get. That one, there's no chance in the world I'm going out there in a lightning storm. That's just not going to happen. It's too far. It's too far. It's too remote. I'm not going out there in a lightning storm. My tree, my other tree, this one I could potentially do this one in a storm. Okay, it's not too far. This is doable in a storm. So that's my plan for this. You know, the 4 trees, that shot, I still don't know the exact shot that I want. That sky I loved. I do want the sun a bit more to the left. Complete wow factor. Yeah, it was. Yeah, see, Pete vouched for me. That night was one of those nights you had to be there. It was. The sky was amazing. It just went off. So, negative. Sorry, I sort of haven't kept up with the chat. Let me just go back. If I miss anything in the chat, just type it again, and I'll try not to go off on tangents. Everybody under those, under the peer shots. That's where we were up to. Some of these would look great on canvases. Yeah, so I'm going to order some canvases soon to have a look. Should see that acrylic print I've got up there. It's amazing. It's just incredible. What file sizes for the Pano Awards? Yes, good question. Good question. The Pano Awards is 3,000 pixels by 1,500. So yeah, 3,000 pixels wide, 1.5 high. So they're not super high resolution images. They only need to be 3,000 pixels wide. So again, we'll go through all of that once it gets closer to the time, because they may change the rules for next year. So I'm not going to go, I was going to go through all of that, but I thought, no, let's wait until let's see the winners from this year. Let's go through the winners from this year when they announce them, and then we'll reread the rules when it's time to submit the images. But yeah, last time I checked, it was 3,000 pixels wide by 1.5 high. I think that was the minimum. But then again, the files still have to be small enough to actually send off. So yeah, they're not ultra high resolution images, but there was a clause in there that if you do win, which I don't think we need to worry about, but if you do win and they want to print your images, you need to be able to supply the high res images. But yeah, it's a dream to win, but you'll see. Yeah, we won't. Stream is good. Okay, good. Yeah, that AI, whenever I use AI, things go a bit weird. The wow factor. Tree and lightning, wow, exactly. I would love, I think a lone tree, and that's the way I'm looking at this. A lone tree isn't anything special. We need to have conditions. We need conditions. Storm season isn't far away. No, I'm waiting for it. I got excited the other day. They said storms and they didn't come. You need to ask Zeus for some lightning. I do. I have some contacts. I have a friend of a friend that knows Zeus, so I'll contact that friend. Actually, it's the cousin's brother's friend of that friend's father's mother that knows Zeus. So I'll contact them, and we'll get some lightning arranged. There was lightning this afternoon. Oh, yeah, when we headed out on the boat. I was torn between, do we go out and watch whales or do we stay and watch lightning? We did. We had some storms this afternoon. We got home and the front of the house was very wet. How many meg? Can't remember. Yeah, we'll have to go through that again. And again, they may change it. So I don't want to I did think of going through the website and reading all the rules, but we'll wait until next year. We'll wait until they announce it. Once they've done the winners for this year, I think they open the awards in either January or February, and it closes in about June. So June or July, I think they close it. So we'll have a look once it reopens. And they might not even be there next year. I think they will though. And I'll explain why I've chosen the Epson Pano Awards. So there's a reason I've chosen the Epson Pano Awards, because first prize is a printer, and my printer's sitting down there unloved. So yeah, I don't care about the prize, to tell the truth. This is for you guys, not for me. But yeah, first prize is a printer, a nice big Epson printer. I've had Epson printers in the past, and really, I do like my Epson printers. But if Canon wants to throw me one, I'll test it out for you. So that's the image. That one, yeah. And again, I do have a pano here, but I stitched the look, here it is. I stitched the pano together. Let me just reset that so we can have a look. And like I was saying before, okay, if we have a look at this as a pano, it's a horrible stitch, but all of this off to the left is just nothing. Okay, that need to have something happening in the shot. It's either minimal and nothing. This is kind of a half image. It's half epic and half not. Epic not. So again, this is, yeah, this, look, these aren't award-winning images. It's as simple as that. These just aren't award-winning images. They're nice. It's a really nice photo, but it's not award winning. But if we don't get anything better, we're going to have to submit it. All right, and then finally, and yeah, Pete got some nice photos. This last one, Pete got some nice photos here. I'll let Pete get all the nice photos from this angle the other night. And again, this is one of those shots where, yeah, once this background creeps in, to me that just gets a bit distracting. I want to be shooting the other way. I do like my nice clean shots. Without that and without that, if that makes sense. Okay, so yep, that's it. So yeah, award winning, I don't know. Nice image, definitely. Okay, and look, it will look fantastic on a print. It's one of those photos that it will probably sell. So if you want to buy a copy, get in touch. But yeah, look, that's a nice image. It is a nice image. I want some, you know, some fog or some mist, some lightning, just something really special. I know the sky's special, but I guess we take it for granted here in Hervey Bay that we see this sky a lot. Next lot of images. How long have we been going for? I'm going to try and keep it to under an hour, just because I don't want to waffle on for too long. Okay, the Milky Way shots. Okay, so this was our first night at the Milky Way, and again, I'm just going to quickly apply my preset. So my Astro preset. Pretty much just change the white balance, take down my highlights, lift my whites, lift exposure by a bit. Yeah, the more I look at my Astro shots, I want an Astro lens now. It's as simple as that. F4 is just not cutting it. Like F4, it's fine for social media. It's fine. Like, they're fine. There's nothing wrong with them. But I'm just too fussy. And I want them to be better than fine. I want them to be epic. Yeah, ISO 6000. I have to shoot at ISO 6400 on an F4. So it would be nice to get at least 2.8 just to get that extra stop. And look, I can bump them up. It's no issue. But like I said, I'm fussy. Okay. Now this was the night that this was a setup shot. So as I was setting up, I had the light shining in the foreground. And I actually like it. I liked that we had those lights in the foreground. I thought that worked well. Now, I did stitch one of these together, and look, it's fine, but the foreground's just too dark. Okay, if I just even if I brighten that up, our foreground, it's too dark. It's not gonna, after having a bit of a look at other people's photos, especially their Milky Way shots, we wait until we get to the Milky Way shots in the Panel Awards. That's where I sort of really thought, yeah, well, if we're going to do it, we've got to do it properly. Yes, Leslie's Viltrox 1.8 is a very good lens, and that is the lens I will probably get. I know Canon have a 16mm 2.8. Canon have a 16mm 2.8 that is relatively cheap and decent, but yeah, I think I want that 1.8. If I'm going to do Astro, I think if you're going to do Astro, you probably do want the 1.8. Look, to me, having the 1.8, I probably wouldn't shoot at 1.8. I will probably still stop it down, but I'd rather have a 1.8 and be able to stop it down to improve image quality than have a 2.8 and shoot at 2.8. Okay, so, you know, if you have a look at lens reviews and everything, generally wide open or at their base aperture, they're not going to be at their sharpest. So the Viltrox, for example, it shoots at 1.8. At 1.8, it's a little bit soft. Stop it down to even 2.2, and then it's pretty bloody good. Okay, the Canon lens that I was looking at, yes, at 2.8, it's okay. You almost have to stop it down to f4 for it to be decent, which is what I don't want to have to do. I don't want to have to get a 2.8 and then stop it down to f4 just to have it nice. Okay, I'll just stick with my f4 lens. So yeah, that Viltrox, that 1.8, yeah, I think a tracker, yeah, a tracker. So the thing is with a tracker, when it comes to doing these types of images, I'm not sure how the tracker would go. I've never kind of gone down that path of tracking and stacking, and I've stacked, and look, stacking images when you've got a foreground as well is a pain in the ass. It's yeah, the stacking and tracking. Ripley wants to come in. Okay, let's have a quick break for a second. Come on, come on, come on, up, up, up. Come on, come on. Oh, come here. Come and say hello. Come, look. Can you see her? Oh. Oh, get off my keyboard. Okay, so Ripley's come to say hello. Look, who's here? Who's that? Say hello. We'll get some photos of Ripley soon. So yes, this is my dog, our dog. She's a border collie, and she's very naughty, aren't you? All right, down you get. She's ready for bed. She's trying to tell me to hurry up. So yes, back to the chat. John Carter, I have a Sigma 40mm 1.4. Just wish I could have the lens at 20mm. Yeah, I know Peter Hall has a 20mm, it's a Nikon lens. I think it might be a 20mm 1.4, but he has a 20mm, which is really nice as well. For me, yeah, look, I do like if I'm going to be doing Milky Ways, I'm not getting a tracker. I've sort of mentioned it before that I do like my Milky Way shots, but I'm not going full on into trackers. Yeah, I'm not going that far into it. Okay, like I said, I enjoy doing it, but yeah, I think when it comes to stacking the images, it takes too long and I can't be bothered. Basically what it boils down to. I tried doing some stacking images the other day where I took 15 or 20 photos of the Milky Way, and then I stacked them all together. It was a pain in the ass, so I stopped. I just want to try and get it in one shot, and that's why, yeah, we probably won't get an award-winning image out of these. But yeah, look, I have the Sigma 20, but too much. Kerry does 2.2. Yeah, 2.2 on that lens is nice. Wow, Canon 16mm 2.8. Canon Devotee here. Yeah, look, I've heard the Canon 2.8 is quite good, and it's a reasonable price too. John, I have the 20mm, but too much comma. So, as in too much of the, and that's the problem with wide angles. Wide angles and trying to stitch photo, especially panoramas, trying to stitch panoramas together on a wide angle is a pain. It is a pain. But yeah, look, I like to keep things simple. Like I said, I like watching people do astrophotography, and I love watching them do all that, but I'm too impatient. I just want to get out there, take a photo, not have to stitch too many together. And trackers just confuse me. Too much technology in a tracker for me. So, in the left corner. Too much in the left corner. I'm a bit behind. You're probably just seeing Ripley soon. Ripley's the #1 fan, she is. She's always listening when I'm talking. So yeah, this image here, too dark, foreground's too dark, so that's why we went back. So Pete and I went back, so big shout out to Pete. Thanks Pete for bringing his lights. This is the sky. Oh, I wish I could do a sky replacement, because I would take this sky and I would take it into this photo. Okay, so this one, again, like they're all very, the first, it was just cloudy. Let me just quickly put my Astro preset onto these. It was too cloudy. I got one shot where it's almost clean. Comma is in the left corner. Oh, comma, oh, yes, I think I know what that means. That's how much I know about astrophotography. I wasn't sure. I know what comma is. That's where your stars have a bit of a shape to them. Yes, I do. I understand that now. Yeah, like I said, that's about how much I know about astro. And the 40mm, my 40mm does do that as well. If we zoom into the corners. So yes, those little, that's what is that? I don't want AI. No. Why is it, what's it trying to do? Is it trying to do a denoise? Oh, it is too. Let me just turn that off. I'm just going to turn off that denoise so it doesn't try and destroy the stream. Let's just turn off lens correction altogether. Yes, so that's what this is. Let me turn those clipping warnings off. So I don't know, let me zoom into 200% so you can see how ugly it looks. So yeah, this is what you mean, John? The commas? Yes. It does it, yeah. Shooting wide open, that's kind of like a downside. And like I said before with the Viltrox, if you shoot the Viltrox wide open, you will probably get these. But by stopping down at 1.8 to 2.2, as Kerry said, I think it gets rid of them. So that's why I would prefer to get a 1.8 and then stop it down to 2.8 rather than get a 2.8 and then deal with this. And that's kind of the downside to me in this f4 lens. Like like in the middle, it's fine. In the middle of the frame, it's perfect. But yeah, the edges can be a bit dodgy. And yeah, like I said, I just want to get some nice shots. Well, I want to get award-winning shots, but let me just change the crop on there. So this is the one shot that we got that is almost perfect. Okay, so yeah, that lighting, the lighting made such a difference. Having that backlighting to light up that tree, it's so close, but we've got this cloud down here, and that cloud annoys me. Okay, and then another thing, again, it's, you know, when we're talking award-winning images, do we really want all this light pollution in the background? Like, that's another thing. We have, like, I'll crop those two lights out over there, but we've got all this light pollution in the background. And see, I think that's a bit of and we've got cars going on over here. So I'm not 100% convinced with Astro at the moment. We might just stick to landscape. But we'll see. Yeah. My 40mm, I don't get bloated stars. Yeah, that's, you know, and that's the difference between a good lens and a cheap lens. I know that the better the lens, the better all of those imperfections are. And one of the downsides of shooting, especially wide angles, edge sharpness isn't the greatest on most wide angles. Like, even, you know, that's part of the stitching. When you stitch these, they go a bit wonky as well. But yeah, but 40mm, you would definitely need a tracker, because otherwise you'd be shooting at like 5 seconds just to keep your stars sharp, which I don't want to go down that track. Soon I'm going to be spending enough money on a new camera and a lens to not worry about trackers and things. But if we win an award-winning image, we might be able to afford to buy some gear. But yes, this is, yeah, the lighting, Pete. Thank you very much for that lighting. My main issue with the lighting, and it's not an issue with the lighting, but it's got a green cast, which that's an easy fix. That's just white balance. Okay. In fact, I did a blend before where all I need to do is increase my magenta just for my foreground, but I'll cover that when it comes time to edit. Okay, because yeah, like, we're going to get a color cast unless we get the lights balanced to the background. But yeah, look, adjusting white balance is absolutely all go as far as the awards go. White balance is fine. So yeah, but that's probably my favorite image of, as far as Milky Way goes. Here in Hervey Bay, we've got two options really. We've got the trees out on the flats, and we've got yachts. They're kind of our two. I don't want to include a yacht because, again, there's two categories in the Pano Awards. There's just your nature and landscape, and then there's the architecture, or I think if I put a yacht in it, I would probably have to include it in the architecture one because it's got a man-made object in it. So I'm going to stick with the trees. So I don't know if we're going to do a Milky Way shot yet. Yeah, unless I find something out there. There's a couple of other options I have here in Hervey Bay for a Milky Way shot, but look, it's hard to go past a lone tree with the Milky Way over it. So that's it. That's it. We've gotten through all the images. Okay, so from five attempts, really we've only had the one fail, and that was this, and that was simply because of the sky. The sky did nothing on this morning. But I've got 200 pelican photos that I absolutely love, which I can't enter into the awards. So, and this is what you're going to see in live streams. You're going to see in live streams, you're not always going to go out and get epic photos. Okay, it's a lot of it is dependent on the weather. This photo was kind of okay. Let me just brighten it up. Way underexposed. I don't know what else. Look, to tell the truth, I wasn't thinking. I think I'd already given up. To be honest, it was one of those mornings, as soon as I saw the sky, I was completely unmotivated to even take photos. Thank God I packed that 70 to 200 to get those pelicans. And that's why I did it. I asked the pelicans to come in and visit. So yeah, that shot there, yeah. I don't think a pier shot is going to be an award winning. Under the pier shot, on the other hand, there's potential. You know, big lightning storm over the pier, possibly. A whirlwind. I know we do get some water spouts occasionally. A water spout. Now there's, you know, when it comes to a pier, a very generic shot, a generic pier, if you can get lightning and a water spout, then you're talking award-winning. Okay, so sometimes it's not all about the location. Definitely helps, like a location definitely helps. But, you know, having something epic happening, okay, whether it's a big thunderhead, whether it's just amazing light. Yeah, so they're our images. I'm not saying they're mine, they're ours, because we're all in this together. We're going to do it. We're going to show you how hard it is, and that's the whole point. That was for those that weren't in the first stream. It was to show you how hard it is to get an award-winning image. You can't just go out and take photos and think they're going to be fantastic. Okay, we got pretty lucky with some of these, and that's, you know, because I have my contacts and I put my order in for these skies. So I think all up, we've got that one, which is that's probably my favorite image so far. Actually, that is my favorite image so far. I think that if I was to enter a competition today, that would be the image. This one here, again, I don't think these are worthy. Again, it's a nice photo. It's pretty. That's what that is. It's a pretty photo. It's not epic. And then the last, that Milky Way was a fail because our foreground was too dark. I wish I could blend the skies, but I can't do that, and I'm not going to do that. But this one, this has potential. Like again, it's another. Like I love it. I do really like this photo, even like unedited, essentially unedited. I do like that photo. But yeah, just this cloud coming into the side. I think with the Milky Way, it's got to be perfectly clear. And there's cloud coming in from this side as well. So, and I think we've lost our chance, to tell the truth. We might get another crack at it right at the end of the season, but it's going to be just after sunset. And who knows, we might even, because we did have that moonrise. There was a few of us that went out one night and did a Milky Way, and we had a moonrise Milky Way. And that was pretty epic, to tell the truth. We got some nice shots on that night. Just as the moon started to rise, we got this nice glow on the horizon from the moon, and then we got the Milky Way as well. So yeah, look, you just got to get out there and try. You know, I pictured this the other day, was having a lightning storm on the horizon, having all lightning along the horizon, and then a clear sky with the Milky Way. Now that's an award-winning image. That straight out. If you could get all that cloud along the horizon and bolts of lightning along here, and then get a clear sky, that would be an award-winning image. All right, that's it. I'm going to wind it up. Yeah, so that was just, and I'm going to keep doing this. I know they might not be the most exciting streams of all time. They might be a bit boring, but you know, you get to see the raw files. You get to see how many photos I've taken, and I've got 2 that I like, and that's the reality. That's the reality. Okay, now we've got lots of nice photos. We got lots of nice photos, but as far as like actual good photos, I've got 2 that I'm happy with. Look, it's one of those things. I'm happy with all of them. To tell the truth, I'm happy with all of these photos. They're all memories. Okay, they're all memories. They're all good photos. But yeah, award winning. We've got 2 so far that have potential. All right, so that's it. I am going to wind it up. We'll do it again. So what I'm going to do, we're going to do another 5 live streams. Now, all of my live streams aren't going to be chasing the Pano Awards. I might do a live stream soon with the dog. I do want to take the dog along for a live stream. Might even do some car photography soon. I've been planning that for a while. Get the car out and blow some cobwebs out, take some photos of the cars. What else did I have? Some wildlife. We'll do some more wildlife live streams. But yeah, what I'll do is once I've done another 5 Pano Award live streams, we'll do the same thing. We'll go through all of the images. We'll pick out our favourite ones. Yeah, there's not a lot to choose from at the moment. But hopefully, you know, by March, probably March, April, we'll have to start getting serious about it. So once we sort of get to March, April next year, we'll go through all of the images and we'll pick some out and we'll work out which ones we're going to submit and see what happens. I don't have high hopes, but you know, you've got to be in it to win it. So thank you, everyone. Let me just quickly read the chat. I've been a bit slack tonight with the chat. What about the great shots we got last year? What about the great shots we got last year on the 31st of March? Yeah, they were good. We've had some pretty good sessions, to tell the truth. We've been pretty lucky up here. Let me just go back a bit further. John's got, John, I use cheap video lights for light painting my foreground, and that way I can set lights, colour, temperature. Yeah, it's sort of, I thought about that afterwards, and I know Pete's lights did have white balance colour changing settings, but I'm a professional photographer and I didn't think of it at the time. So yeah, it was one of those things that it looked good on the back of the camera, and it wasn't until I got home that's when I'm like, it looks fine here. You look at them, but it's not until you sort of look closer you think, okay, there is a bit of a green tint there. So, and you know, when you're looking at a raw file on the back of your camera, let me reset that. Okay, that's the raw file on the back of the camera, and you think that actually looks really good. There's plenty of light there. Everything looked fine at the time. And then, you know, it's not until you get home and you actually start to develop the images that you're going to notice things like that. Okay, so again, like looking at that on the back of the camera, it looked like we had it pretty much spot on. We thought we had it right. And yeah, like white balance, I'm not too fussed about. White balance is a nice, easy fix. But yeah, I think next time, if we try that again, we might play around with our white balances a little bit. So many contributing factors. Yeah, exactly. There's a lot, especially, you know, there's going out and taking nice photos, and then there's trying to win a competition, which if people knew how much I am against photo competitions, you'd be surprised why I'm even doing this. You can borrow the lights anytime. Thanks, Pete. We'll catch up again soon too. Kerry, that was awesome. Thank you. Yeah, good. I'm glad you liked it a little bit. We'll do some editing next. Like I said, I'm going to break it into stages. This stage is just showing you the images, and then the next stage will be editing. We're gonna, eventually we'll get to the stage where we're going to edit these images, and I'll show you. You know, taking the photos is one thing. Like, you get out and take some nice photos, get it right in camera as best as you can, but editing is a whole nother world, and do yourself a favour, get on the Pano Awards website, have a look at some of those images, and I can guarantee you they're not straight out of camera. Editing is a big, big, big part of making your photo have some wow factor to it. Would the fast storm block out the light pollution? It might amplify it actually. The clouds might, because the clouds tend to, the light pollution will bounce off the clouds, so the clouds would glow. But having that lightning there, the lightning would, you know, blend in with the light pollution, if that makes sense. So yeah, if you had this row of clouds along that horizon with bolts of lightning coming down, you probably wouldn't see it. If I just to give you a quick, I'm sure I've got some in here. This is my lightning. God, it's been a while since I've had lightning. I don't even think I have lightning photos in my best folders. I've got a couple that are okay. They're going to be back here. I've got lots of lightning shots, but yeah, trying to find my best lightning shots is hard. So yeah, it will hide the light pollution. So that's what, you know, if we could get something like that along our horizon with a clear sky, and I've got shots like that. It was a fail of a night. I changed my focus and I threw them all out. But I had a night where we had these epic clouds, big thunderheads, and then the whole right side of the sky was clear. It was clear sky, and you could see, it was in the storm season, so you couldn't see the Milky Way, but you could see all the stars. So you had all these epic clouds along the horizon, and then you had clear skies. And that's an award-winning image. If you can actually capture that, if you can capture a lightning storm and a Milky Way, far out. Yeah, that's what we're talking about for an award-winning image. You're going to have a bit of luck on your side. Now, I said I was going to wind it up about 10 minutes ago, didn't I? So, yeah, macro streams, yes, I am planning some macro as well. Again, macro and astro, I'm in that same boat, okay? Macro's in the front seat, astro's in the back seat, and I'm in the middle. Okay, I like it, I enjoy it, but I don't have macro gear. I don't have macro gear. And macro gear, similar to astro gear, you can go full on. You can go full on with lighting and, again, focus stacking and tracking, and yeah. When I do my macro, I keep it simple because I don't have a macro lens. It's great you're sharing the experience. Thank you. Thanks, Kerry. And yeah, look, it's something different. It's just to sort of, you know, join the journey. Let's and hopefully it inspires other people. You know, hopefully it inspires other people to go out. Don't enter the Pano Awards when I enter it. Do it. Go get out, enter some competitions. Okay, so see if you can push yourselves. And I think you'll find that once you realise how hard it is to actually get an award-winning image, you know, you could fluke it. You could go out the first night and try and get some bolt of lightning striking a tree with birds flying past and just nail it. But yeah, look, it's fun trying. It's fun trying. That's why I do it. I enjoy it. I love going out and trying to capture something epic, hoping for something crazy to happen. Yep, light travels at miles at night. Yes, it does. It does. And especially, yeah, because I've done Milky Ways before, and all you need is a little, like even these clouds out here, they were lighting up from light pollution. So, but yeah, having them on the horizon, we could be good. All right, I'm going to stop talking. I was going to finish up a while ago. We've gone 15 minutes over time. So thank you all again. Not sure when my next live stream's going to be. I'll probably work on a video next. I'll do an actual video and then do a live stream. Hopefully this week sometime. We've got that low tide in the afternoon. So low tide lets me get out to my trees. The weather is looking okay. I think it's going to be cloudy and possible showers all week. So possibly get out. It's also school holidays. I might be heading down to the Gold Coast for a few days. I've got a bit to do this week. I've got a few things on. Who knows? I might even do a live stream from the Gold Coast. with a beach of 1,000 people all over it. Oh, that's not a good idea, actually. But yeah, that's it for tonight. I don't know what I'm doing next. I will probably make a video next, and we'll live stream when we can. So thank you everyone who popped in and said hello. And if I missed anyone's comments, I do apologise. I tend to just talk crap sometimes, and I do miss things. But yeah, I'll be back. So jump in next time and ask some questions. And yeah, feel free to ask questions whenever you want. I'll answer the best I can. John had some good questions in there. Unfortunately, I'm not astrophotography enough to be answering most of John's questions, but yeah, we'll try. All right, thank you, and I will hopefully see you all again sooner than later. All right, see ya.